everybody, and welcome back to Video Game Archaeology. I'm Dr. Bill Farley, and we're going to get back into playing a little Dark Souls 3. So, since the last time we were together, I did play a little bit and just grabbed a couple of levels and a couple of Estus flasks that we needed, and so we're picking back up exactly where we left off. Although I did advance a little bit of the level a little bit. I didn't advance the story at all. Didn't talk to any NPCs or fight any bosses. But I've just optimized my character just a teeny bit. And I also picked myself up a decent pair of headphones to use, which is why I'm not doing the recording with the video. So until I can get myself a little bit of a better video setup, we're going to go with no visual and just the audio for now. It saves me a lot of time in actually getting all the videos uploaded and such too, because it makes the videos a lot smaller. What else is worth telling you before we start getting into a little bit about archaeology? I realized last time I've had some feedback from the first video, which is really nice. Some people liked it, some people liked it a little bit less. I think most people had fun with it, which is good. And those who didn't were, a couple of people said, oh, they would have liked to have seen it sort of live streamed and then maybe recorded afterwards. And I would like to say that is kind of the eventual plan, is actually to with time, set myself up some sort of a streaming situation. It's not something I've ever done before. When you come through this section, by the way, we started at that second bonfire. That was the other thing, another bit of feedback I got, is actually found out that there's several people who are playing along with the game for the first time, which, first of all, that rules, that super owns, that people are playing along with me for the first time. I just think that's super cool. And also, I'm very jealous that you're getting to play this really cool game for the first time. And so I can be a little bit more descriptive about the gameplay as well. So we started from that second bonfire, remember, that we found last time, up those stairs. Remember that before I came down here, there's that knight up there that you sort of want to avoid. But to advance the storyline, you want to come down this way, down the ladder, out through here, and you notice the first thing I did was sprinted and killed that random dude over there. The reason for that is that if you wait more than a few seconds, that guy will turn into a huge, ginormous pus of man, which is this huge, very irritating to fight. I think actually not all that fun to fight, sort of guy. And so I wanted to snag him before. There's an item down there. I can't remember what that is. If I'm being honest, I don't remember what that is. So here's some scrubby fellas over here with crossbows. But there is a treasure down here. It's a big glowy one, so it's something good. Oh, black fire bombs. I'll never ever use those. So, but you know, they're there. Grab those. Now, last time we did go this way, if you recall. And there's a bunch of stuff down here. There's a broadsword. There's a really nice 100% physical blocking shield. The kite shield. You have to deal with that dude. And then remember, at the end of that hall is a room that I think is actually one of the most difficult rooms to manage in the entire game. Because we come on it so early, and it really has a very difficult level design and enemy arrangement. And so I'm not going to bother going down there again. But there's some great prizes down there. There's the key to like Grey Rat out of his cell, as well as an Estus flask shard. You'll notice yesterday I uploaded a step-by-step guide on how to do a particular exploit in Firelink Shrine called the tree jump glitch, or the tree jump skip. And this is something people have known about for many years. The guides on how to do it online all tremendously suck, so I made a new one that I think is a little better. So you can do that too if you want to go back to Firelink Shrine and go and try and use that exploit. And see, you can also buy a key that gets you in there. It's very expensive, 20,000 souls, which is a lot at this point in the game. But you can use that exploit to save yourself a lot of time and get another Estus Flash Shard, as well as the Silver Covetous the covetous silver serpent ring, which increases the amount of souls you get. So for my newcomers, like people who are playing the game for the first time, we come down that ladder, come down through here again. Right, there's these little scrubby dudes are going to kind of sneak up on us from every angle. And then this sort of intimidating looking guy here, who is genuinely a little bit intimidating. He's also very easy to backstab, so you can kind of get in there behind him. Ooh, I thought I was going to stun him there. But he has this huge window in the back to practice backstabbing, so he's a little bit scarier looking than he actually is. Now, I came through here when I was playing last night, so there's some treasures. There's a rapier or an estoc. I can't remember if it's a rapier or an estoc, but if you're into a pokey sort of sword, there's a decent one right there where I was just facing. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking gameplay here. I want to get into talking about some archaeology. That's why y'all are here, right? Now, most importantly, really, truly most importantly, is you come up these stairs. You can sneak up these stairs, and there's an item over here you can grab. I already got it. A ring of sacrifice, if I recall correctly. And then through here, there's this one dude. He's going to lure us in. And then many more dudes are going to sneak up on us from a bunch of different angles. Take care of them. And then this right here is a shortcut that will take us back quite close to the first bonfire in the level. So this is your infamous Dark Souls shortcuts. So I'm going to just poke out here. If you go up those stairs and to the right, it will lead you back to the first bonfire. So we're coming up on the area boss. This is the shortcut from the quickest shortcut from the bonfire to the area boss. All right. So I'm going to go contend with some fools, and just like I'm sort of introing you to the game here, I thought what I would maybe do tonight, in a shorter video, frankly, than the previous one, is give you some true archaeological basics, which is actually, which is actually not something that I did last time. I realized last time I kind of dove into the deep end on you a little bit. I sort of made an assumption about some prior knowledge that you may not have had. A couple of these guys give you Nestus flashback. So that's what I thought I would do tonight after we kind of get rolling here. I thought I would tell you a little bit, sort of give you my intro pitch on archaeology. If you go up there, by the way, up those stairs, there's a red-eye, one of these knights, who's a bit of a challenge, but he drops a refined gem very early. Decent way to start upgrading some weapons. Now we need to come in here to advance the storyline and speak to this woman. Now, if you're following the story, and obviously you're not, because nobody is at this point. Did this guy just see me? He's going to chase now. They will chase you into this little cathedral. If you're following the story, what we're supposed to be doing, our kind of goal, I guess, here in the beginning of the game, what we think we're supposed to be doing is we were supposed to be traveling to this cathedral, which is supposed to be the entrance to Lothric Castle. Oh, I've done pissed this guy off. Will he follow me in here? They won't really. And so this cathedral here, up there past that little ladder, is Lothric Castle, which is actually an area of the game that we're going to come to much, much, much later. You may be aware that you can, in fact, actually skip about 2/3 of the game by killing this NPC, which will make a late game boss appear, and if you can beat them, which is a big if, you can actually advance. You can do a huge skip of a big chunk of the game. We're not going to do that. That's not a very fun way to play the game, but if you were sort of speed running or something, I guess you could do that. So we're supposed to be traveling here and going past here to go up to the Prince of Lothric, who's supposed to be one of the bosses we're supposed to be chasing. What we're going to find out here in a second is that actually we can't do that yet, so they're going to send us off on a totally different path. In classic Dark Souls fashion.
Ah, the wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, and raise this banner to proceed. This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart, and the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits.
All right.
Unkindled one, head to the high wall's base. Go through the great gate, but beware. The dog keeps a close eye on things. The vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like a warning about our first real boss. And that's, of course, exactly what it is. I'm going to put on a helmet, even though it's going to make me look stupid. I don't want to mess with these knights. I don't want to bother. Alright, so Emma has informed us that we're going to find out later she's sort of covering for these guys, the two princes of Lothric. And so she's sent us off on a wild goose chase here, but we won't know that for quite a while. So she sends us down here. There's a dude over here who's going to shoot me with an arrow. If I don't kill him, watch out for that guy. These little shield guys who are kind of a pain. If you give these guys a little kick, it's very easy to take out. Yeah. Oh, that was stupid. There we go. Didn't play that very well. So there's all kinds of summoning I could do here. Am I going to summon anybody? I'm not going to bother summoning anybody. We're just going to give it a try on our own. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to be honest about my death count, by the way. Let's take this Estus. Let's go in with full health. I'll let you all see the cutscenes. I haven't talked about archaeology at all. I'm just talking about the game. That's okay. I'm kind of alright with that. Maybe I'll try and talk about archaeology a little bit while we fight the boss. Just for shits and giggles. Janet? What do you think about this situation, Janet? What do you feel about this strange, foggy business? This guy is called Fort of the Boreal Valley. And he is gross. Oops. That's what I meant to do. Okay. Come on, fella. Well, like with most bosses, actually it helps to very confidently stay close. He doesn't actually hit as hard as he looks like he hits. I say. Yeah, let's just go full health, alright? Ow. Owned. Alright. Neat. Had to use a few flasks. Didn't exactly do it flawlessly. But not really. Not too bad. We're gonna get a little... If you've played Dark Souls 1, we're about to get a lovely little... Our first obnoxious homage. First of all, seems familiar. Could this be a monster? Oh, it's an angel. So we're gonna get our first of all, great view. Still gorgeous graphics. Those graphics do look nicer on the PS5. I think you can really feel that, and you can feel that. I don't know. Is this in 60 FPS? Who knows? Feels like it. Feels good. Feels smooth. But our first obnoxious reference to Dark Souls 1 here. Some find it obnoxious. I am some. But we'll watch it anyway. Oh, I should have taken off the hat. Alright, so while these creepy fellas come and say hello. Now that we're 15 minutes in, start talking about archaeology a little bit. So like I said, what I wanted to do, I said I'm going to go shorter this time. Shooting for about 30 minutes, maybe a little less. But give you kind of an intro to archaeology. So last time we dove into it a little bit. I got kind of into it. We talked about CRM. We were talking about... It's because I took some questions ahead of time. But I realized some of you may not really know anything about archaeology. And so let me tell you a little bit about it. Let's start with the textbook definition. So archaeology is... I'm going to go back to the shrine and level up. Archaeology is study of human culture, society, and behavior through people's material remains. So what does that mean? We're going to keep this very simple. We're just going to dump a bunch of levels of strength. What does that mean? Oops.
Farewell, Ashen One.
It means that, unlike, say, cultural anthropology, and I'll talk about why that's a relevant comparison in just a second. Unlike cultural anthropology, archaeologists usually, almost always, 99% of the time, are studying cultures that are far enough in the past that there's nobody left to really ask them about it. People who actually lived at the sites we live in. There are exceptions to this, and I know some folks who work on sites that are recent enough that there are in fact living people who you can go and interview and sort of do ethnographies of, who actually lived at the site you're studying, which is very cool. But that's not typical. That's a sort of unusual circumstance. Most of the time we're studying sites. Again, check out these views. You can just good classic Dark Souls fashion. We can kind of look ahead. Some cool class stuff coming on here, right? So we're going down into a lower class, kind of a shanty town kind of a vibe, the Undead Settlement. I find this area very disorienting even after having played this game about 10 times. So we don't usually have people we can actually just interview and ask, hey, what was this culture like X number of years ago? What were people who lived in this culture like in the past? And so instead, we study them through their quote-unquote material remains. That means they're artifacts and archaeological sites where people live. Material remains, literally the physical material things left behind by people. So that really means artifacts. So we reconstruct past societies and cultures and behaviors through these material remains. Artifacts, features, landscapes, and on and on. Try not to get too distracted. So I said before, it's going to be relevant. It's relevant to say, oh, unlike cultural anthropology. This is because in the United States, and other places too, but in somewhat a different fashion than in the history of the science in Europe and Great Britain. And we can see that guy walking over there. See this person crying.
Grant me death.
This is an NPC. let me finish doing this little spiel, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to that guy. So in the United States, archaeology is a subdiscipline, a subfield of anthropology. Anthropology, of course, is the study just of humans, human culture, human biology, human behavior, human language. All that stuff falls under the realm of anthropology, the study of anthropology. I've argued in my classes sometimes that anthropology is actually the broadest, biggest study, maybe with the exception of physics, in the world, because it's everything to do with humans. It includes history, it includes archaeology, it includes sociology, it includes everything in itself. Now I'm being a little flippant. I don't want to detract from the importance of those very important sciences. Let's take a momentary break here to have this conversation.
Oh, then it's true. A champion of Ash as I live and breathe. To be in your presence is a great honor. I am Yol of Londor, a pilgrim, as you can see, only somehow I failed to die as was ordained. Well, perhaps my calling lies elsewhere. Say, champion of Ash, how does the idea of taking me into your service strike you? I was once a sorcerer. Surely I can be of use. Oh, I am honored, truly. I should be dead, yet you have granted me purpose anew. I, Yol of Londor, do solemnly swear myself to you.
Alright, so Yol is an important NPC for tackling the most complicated of Dark Souls 3's endings. I haven't decided which ending we're going to kind of head towards. But if we want to do the most complicated, maybe most satisfying of the endings, it involves that NPC in a big way. Alright, so we were talking about archaeology as a part of anthropology. Anthropology, study of all things human, present and past. When we get into the past part, we come to archaeology. So archaeology is that one aspect of anthropology, studying the past through human remains. So when I compare it to cultural anthropology, that's the reason. In the American Academy, anthropology is split 4 ways. Cultural anthropology, study of cultures in the present. Biological or physical anthropology, which is the study of human anatomy and biology, evolution, on and on. Linguistic anthropology, which is very specifically about the study of language, recognition that the study of language is a very important part of of humanity, and deserves a certain level of extra scrutiny. And then archaeology, the study of past societies through material remains. These little dudes here you can knock down by hitting with a weapon. It's going to be kind of an important new verb that we're going to get in this section of the game. These little guys are funny. I'll leave a jump scare for y'all. Where is he? Where the hell is he? Anyway. So, now if you want to advance the NPC, I'm not going to go crazy trying to advance all the NPC plot lines. They're very complex and not really what I'm going for. But many of them are fairly straightforward, and maybe one of the most interesting and oh jeez, what am I doing? Is Grey Rats, the little guy who we freed from his cell in our last section. And to advance his storyline, we need to go up here and cut that down, and we'll grab what was in that little body when we get down there. That's going to allow us to advance Grey Rat's storyline. So the American Academy, we have those 4 subfields. Archaeology is but one of them. By far the coolest one, obviously. Oh, forgot about you. So let's make that a little bit more pragmatic, man. I'm burning through glass. Let's make that a little bit more practical. Study human past through material remains, blah, blah. What's that really mean? What that means is that archaeologists go out and we find archaeological sites, which are places in the landscape where humans once lived and interacted and left behind stuff. So that stuff might be the kinds of... that stuff really depends on the culture and the time period. So if it's a very ancient site, maybe a 5 or a 10,000-year-old site, we might only find stone tools and a few other things. More recent sites that are maybe only a few hundred years old, you might get totally different scenarios of totally different kinds of material stuff. Now, if you want to learn more about that, check out the Video Games Are Lying to You Archaeology of Uncharted video that I put out, which is a fully scripted video, much more slickly made than these. And that video is very specifically about that, this different kinds of material culture that we find at sites and what it means. Whew, that was a little bit close. These ladies are... Ooh, I thought I timed that very poorly.
Bastard's curse.
These guys just yell that weird stuff at you. So, as I said before, I find this this is one of the most spatially disorienting sections of the game, and this is a bit of a hub section here that we're in right here. It's the shard, that's right. So don't miss that. Of all the items that you don't want to miss Estus shards. You don't want to miss undead bone shards, undead bone fragments. Oh, jeez, I got locked out. That's embarrassing. Oh well. Well, this wouldn't be a very exciting video if I didn't die at least once. Let's try that again, shall we? So, some of the basic terms you want to know. I keep using this term, artifact. Now, artifact, quite simply, is the actual material stuff that I was talking about. An artifact can be anything. An artifact is literally any object whatsoever that was interacted at all by humans in the past. Shortcut we take here. I mean, it can truly be anything. So that's something as complex as a fully formed stone tool, you know, a shuli and a hand axe used by a Neanderthal or an early Homo sapiens, or ceramic vessels, or I don't know. It can be literally anything, and much more mundane stuff like one of my favorite classes of artifacts. It's called a manuport. A manuport is a rock that's on your site because you're pretty sure a person put it there, right? So, like, I don't know, if you have a hearth and next to the hearth is a nice big round rock that has no reasonable reason to be there, that might be a manuport. A person pulled up a rock to sit at while they were sitting next to a fire, right? That's called a manuport, right? So it's any artifact, any object. As soon as a human interacts with it meaningfully and alters the meaning behind that artifact, then it becomes an artifact. Any object can become an artifact through those means. So since we're in the business of defining, another term I've been using a lot is a site. What is a site? Well, an archaeological site is... I forgot about that little door. I don't usually go this way. This is an interesting section of the game because there are literally 5 or 6 different routes you can take out of that little square, that little where the fire is. And there, none of them are wrong. Actually, any of these different directions will will lead you to where you need to go. This I have to go. That's right. If you do come down in here, there's a hole in the floor over here somewhere. Isn't it? Yeah, here it is. And in here, this is... So, see this Praise the Sun appraisal? This was there was a fan theory here. I love this. Can I tell you, one of the things I love about these Dark Souls games is these messages. I love them. I love the, like, memes that emerge out of them. We want to get into some linguistic anthropology stuff. The memes that emerge out of them. So this was a fan theory emerged after Dark Souls 1, that Solaire of Dark Souls 1 fame was in fact the son of Gwyn, and you know, this game actually is going to, unfortunately, kind of does Solaire a little bit dirty. And so, because we find, this is a little bit of that environmental storytelling I was talking about, right? So we fall down into this little room. There's this Warrior of Sunlight medal, which is a thing that's associated with Solaire. You can see that Solaire symbol right there on the thing. This allows us to join the Warriors of Sunlight, which of course I'm going to do. I'm always a sun bro. Or a sun gal, maybe. But often these, the 2 or 3 times, these symbols that are associated with Solaire are located next to these Estus soups, which I can drink and it heals me. And so the leading theory, last I heard, is that perhaps Solaire was actually turned into soup. Now, I think that actually a character we're going to meet in a little while, one of the NPCs, is making these soups, and I think is meant to be a character that's sort of a referential to Solaire. Now, I'm no lore master. I'm not going to pretend to do a Vadi Vidya thing here, but that's my kind of different thinking about that. I don't think Solaire is the soup. I think that Sigmire is making the soup, or is it the other Sig? Really tough engagement. Alright, back to archaeology. So, sites. A site is a place on the landscape, we kind of call something an archaeological site, a place on the landscape where we find archaeological material. We find artifacts of any old sort. Anytime you find an artifact, so I spent a number of years working for a state's historical commission as a GIS specialist, Geographical Information System specialist. That means I made maps. I entered data into maps. I didn't even make maps. I entered data into maps, into digital maps. And one of the things I did was all the sites that got reported to the state, I entered into this massive, complicated, huge, complicated digital map called the GIS, Geographical Information System. Crikes. Crikos! I blame the camera angles. I blame the children. Anyway, a couple of deaths are good. Keeps it interesting. Keeps it exciting. Doesn't matter. We're progressing through the level. I'm going to take a different route every time. Nah, I want those souls back, so I'm going to book it there. Let's book it back there. We'll get our souls back, and then that might be a good place to stop for the evening. Crike. That's what I'm going to do. Need to make sure I don't die before I get those souls back. So anyway, I was telling you about my job at the Historical Commission. Yes. And so one of my jobs was, we get these site forms in from whoever. Oftentimes they were from CRM firms. Remember from last time we talked about cultural resource management firms. That's where most of them came from. But they also came from academic archaeologists or just people from the community who discovered sites, you know, randomly, and they would report them. They would do, you know, what they're supposed to do and report them to the office that keeps track of that stuff, which is the Historic Preservation Office. And my job would be take these site forms, take the locational data, the spatial data, enter them into this huge map. So theoretically, every archaeological site in the state would be represented on this map. Pretty neat resource, frankly, if that in fact actually happened. It didn't, obviously, right? There's no way to actually account for every single one of those sites, but We had a lot on there, thousands and thousands of sites on this map. And the sites could be anything from incredibly complex sites that have been excavated for 50 years without a break by archaeologists of all types and stripes and famous archaeologists. And then, but then probably the simplest type of site we simply called a find spot. Now, find spot was a single artifact found out in the environment. So that would be, the most common one was somebody wandering through the woods. I'm gonna put on some cooler clothes. Somebody wandering through the woods. Does that make me look cooler? Nah, I guess I'll leave this on. I'd start doing fashion souls literally as soon as it's possible. As soon as it is possible. As soon as I've accrued enough swag to begin doing fashion souls, I will do fashion souls. So find spots were just a single artifact found somewhere. So a lot of times that meant like somebody finding like a projectile point, like an arrowhead or a spearhead, you know, in the woods. Somebody just, you know, walking, you know, this happens, right? People just find a point. And there's probably a more complicated site there, but there might not be. There might simply have been somebody, you know, threw a spear out and it hit a wall and broke, and there it sat for the next X thousands of years. That's called a find spot, right? So this is it's kind of a nebulous term, right? It's sort of an inexact term, an archaeological site. If an archaeological site can be anything from, you know, literally a whole city, you know, a series of cities built on top of each other, which is called a tell, is one site, and so is a single sherd of ceramic found in the woods by a person on a hike. An exact term, right? So that creates a little bit of a problem. So we have to think a little bit more elegantly about sites. But that gives you an idea, right, of the vastness of that term. It's not the most useful term in the world. And yet we still use it, and we use it quite importantly. This part requires a teensy bit of concentration. Teensy bit. There's weird stuff coming at me from just about every angle imaginable. I don't want to die again and embarrass myself. Oh, that's some horse patooties. Sharp gem I'm not going to use, but I got it. Alright, backtrack a little bit. So we got artifacts. We got sites. We learned what archaeology is. We learned about how archaeology fits into the broader understanding of what anthropology is in the United States. Last thing I'll say about archaeology. Here's one of the things I think is really kind of cool about archaeology. These guys are a pain in the butt. I think archaeology is one of the only sciences. Maybe the only one? I don't know. Is this guy gonna chase me all the way out here? Yeah, he is. Oh, where's my backstab? Where's my backstab, Chief? Oh my goodness. Might as well use this thing. There we go. There we go. So archaeology is one of, if not the only discipline in the academy that I think almost perfectly straddles the three sort of separate parts of academia. Now, the three separate parts of academia by this definition are the so-called bench sciences, That's like chemistry and biology and physics. The humanities, that's like history and language arts and such. I'm actually gonna slam an ember here because there is a invasion that can happen here. If you're embered, by the way, you can actually get invaded, and there's an NPC invasion here. There it is. And I would like to do it. I'd like to do the invasion. Come get me, Chiefo. Down here. So while I fight the Mad Knight, Hodrick. I think that's his name. And I want to do this without attracting the attention of that dude, which I already have. That's inconvenient. That's frankly very inconvenient. That's kind of a pain if I'm gonna be real about it. That guy will not leave me alone. Well, that was lucky, I'm gonna be honest. Y'all don't mind if I just focus up here for a moment. Oh, come on. Paper armor on these dudes is ridiculous. Didn't do a lot of damage. No, I don't want to kick. Oh my god. I'm not going to be left with many Estus Flasks to actually deal with Hodrick because of this. What? What? It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. So it's really nicely situated between these three things. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Oh, and the third, I didn't get the social sciences. And the third, of course, is the social sciences, which is where anthropology actually hangs out, logistically speaking, within the academy. What a waste. Sorry, I'm gonna be drowning in embers by the end of the game. What do I mean by that? Archaeology borrows from all three of those in really big ways. So it's first and foremost is in the social sciences. That's really kind of where it hangs out most of the time. And this is because anthropology is strongly reliant on using statistical analysis, social theory. It's kind of invested in postmodernism, some other things that connect it really strongly with the social sciences. It's pretty obviously connected to the humanities because, like I said, right, humanities includes the classics and history and language studies. Those are all, you know, historically very strongly connected with archaeology. And for pretty obvious reasons, like history is going to be an important relative to archaeology. I'm playing so dumb. Oh, please. Kiss my butt. Okay, whatever. What a joke, man. I can't beat this guy. So it's entirely possible that when you see this, I'll just I'll just pretend like none of this happened. We'll just do a huge big time skip. Ah, I did it! Oh my god! Why was that so hard? That was so not worth it. Alright. I said I was going to do this for 30 minutes, and I did it for 50 minutes. Oh well. I think that's probably a good place to stop. We talked about some basics. And for those of you who are playing along for the first time, hey, last thing I'll show you as I sign out for the night. I gotta wait for it to load for probably a couple of seconds. But if you want to get to that place where that little skip is that I made the video about, what you do is you go through right here. So this has to load for a couple of seconds. Right, so we were down there. You come up those stairs, up around this way. Eventually this will clear, and I'll show you. Spot is right here. That tree right there. Now, I'm not even gonna try. Let's see, do I do my first try? Oh shoot! First try, baby! Alright, that's a good place to stop. I gotta end on that. After that embarrassing multiple death loss to a scrub NPC, you all can continue to recognize that I'm not absolutely horrible at this game. I can pull off that little skip glitch on my first try. Come around this way, down here, and through this door here. Sneak across and drop down way back over there, and there's some nice items up here, so feel free to do that. Alright everybody, thanks for hanging out with me for our second playthrough, our second night. We'll keep moving forward with time. If these videos aren't for you, and you want to wait for my more, if you just watch this and you think, it's not really for me, if you want to wait for my more scripted stuff, more of that is coming. Those videos take a long time to make. And I do. This is unfortunately not my day job, so I will continue to produce those, but it'll be a bit until the next one. All right, everybody, thanks, and have a fantastic rest of your day or evening.